A solid B-plus action movie uplifted by better than A-plus character work and chemistry among its leads, featuring at least one breakout star-making performance, occasionally hampered but by no means derailed or even significantly dragged down by the wider stakes being somewhat vague and the main antagonist being perfunctory and forgettable, but that overall really works, especially when it's being different, fun, and lightweight, and less so when it's being more of the same and taking itself too seriously, which fortunately is not very often. That's my one-paragraph, spoiler-free, context-free summation of The Marvels, the movie, but also it's pretty much my standing one-paragraph summation of The Marvels, as in the Marvel movies and TV shows comprising the Marvel Cinematic Universe, produced and released by Marvel Studios, or, most of them over the last 15 years, as in, sure, here and there they absolutely put out an Avengers, a Guardians, a Winter Soldier, a Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, WandaVision, etc., bold, game-changing, A++ tier stuff that redefines the capability and upper limits of the genre, but for the most part, Kevin Feige and crew conquered Hollywood the Moneyball way, making solid journeyman work and winning with on-base percentage versus big swinging homers, and that's fine, really? Like, there's only 4 of these out of all the movies and shows I'd call outright not very good, and I know some of you want to fight me on one of them, the really good ones I mentioned, and as for the rest, you can put The Marvels right there with Iron Man, Hulk, She-Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man 2 and 3, Civil War, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the first Captain Marvel, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Hawkeye, Eternals, Moon Knight, Love and Thunder, Miss Marvel, Moon Girl, Werewolf by Night. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. Spider-Verse counts, right? They did that thing. So yeah, anyway, all of which are again pretty damn good to just fine, which is a shockingly good average for a genre and industry that only just recently foisted The Flash on everybody. But beyond that, I'm not sure what else I could give you for this from a review standpoint beyond yes, stay through the credits, and no, you don't need to have watched Miss Marvel, WandaVision, or really even the first Captain Marvel to follow this, but you're probably going to want to after it anyway because the characters are fun, and if you're only here to talk about box office numbers or repeat dialogue you got from that most recent South Park thing, I mean, if I can offer you the secondhand response of normal people with real jobs who recently touched the grass to such things, I imagine it would be, I'm not a Disney shareholder, so why should I care? And also, they're still making South Park? Why?
You should really be careful on YouTube.
Okay, boomer.
I'm not a boomer, I'm Gen X.
Let's see. Suggested videos for you. Joe Rogan interviews Boss Baby. Goodnight Moon. Fact or hoax?
In any case, to the story of this, we're doing space stuff in this one. If you do remember where Captain Marvel left off, you'll recall the heroine was going to go laser punch the shit out of the Kree Empire. Those are the blue guys, if you remember. If not, it's okay, they're boring. Anyway, they're getting it for being bad guys in some fashion that this movie will now have to pretzel logic into an explanation for why she's never on Earth using her god-level space powers to make everyone else's movies end right away, and it turns out she did exactly that at some point between then and now. So Zawe Ashton, as the Kree's sassy new leader Dar-Ben, has gone looking for the other half of some ancient magic space bracelet, which, if united with the one she already has, will form a super weapon that she can use to destroy Carol Danvers and threaten the galaxy, etc., etc. There's been like 30 of these, you know where that's going. Which is also why you also don't need a whole streaming show to not be surprised that the other bracelet is already in possession of teenage superheroine and Captain Marvel fangirl Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, who Dar-Ben causes to become entangled through her powers with Carol and Carol's one-time surrogate niece Monica Rambeau, who's also picked up superhuman powers, technically because of the events of WandaVision, non-technically because, again, 30 of these, that just happens here now. This is the main gimmick of the actual movie. When the 3 heroines use their abilities at the same time, they swap places in time and space, and will have to work together on their timing and communication to make this an asset instead of a liability, but what's important on screen is that the movie now gets to do every big action set piece in these Star Wars 3 set pieces at once style, but swapping out who's fighting in which set piece back and forth, which is, hey, a fun new way to do that. And they brought back the cat that spits tentacles at people and Kamala's funny, charming TV sitcom family to do the comedy stuff, and that's a good time. And there's also a musical sequence, lots of good banter between the 3 leads, and a pretty wild post-credit sequence that is, yeah, people are going to be talking about it. Like the rest of these, it's better when it's doing its own unique stuff, and less so when it's doing more of the same, the best news being that someone finally got the memo that these things don't all need to take a whole fucking weekend to watch, so the more of the same parts feel like what they hacked the most down to get it to barely over 90 minutes, which is really only as long as most of these need to be, whereas the different unique stuff gets the room to breathe. I know the fate of the universe is meant to be at stake, but when it always is, it's hard to get portentously invested, so the action stuff doesn't all need to be giant, massive Michael Bay level spectacles. Making it too long doesn't make up the difference. The fact of the matter is, you come to see fun people fly around in space, shoot rainbows at each other, make quips, and have a good time. This is exactly as much of that for exactly as long as it needs to be, and demanding that it be more than that when it does a totally fine job at that feels close to being the kind of person who's just already more miserable than I like to be. I had a fine time with this. The leads have great chemistry. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan steals the show. She's already a big big star with the fans, this will make her a huge star with mainstream audiences, and I had a great time with it as someone who doesn't need one movie to save my life, nor does my entire brand as a critic rely on this movie or its makers failing to feel good about myself. It's a 7 out of 10, recommended, check it out.